All right, so we have a lot of black metal reviews at the end of the year. It's just kind of the season for it. And one of the best ones I've heard in December is uh, Nigrum's Elevenfold Tail. It's their debut album. It follows yeah, like a demo or an EP or two, and it's sort of built from one musician's who was based in Mexico to start, and eventually moved to southern Sweden in Malmo, and basically he built off the idea of what he was doing in previous bands alongside some better known kind of Mexico City area black metal artists, and eventually he worked with the guys from Infesticide, who are have a couple of other pretty good bands you should check out, and I feel like that kind of changed the focus a little bit, but it was still the band was always focused on an occult kind of Swedish black metal sound, which there's a couple ways you could look at it. You could look at it ultra traditional and say there's like a lot of like the black and like Niflheim and that kind of thing in there too. I hear some Watan, however you would say their name, and more than just Swedish influences in there. There's thrash and a little bit of death metal here and there in some of the rhythm work. But after moving to Sweden, this the last most recent demo he put out, Kramer um, Igne, really gave you an idea of where they were going with it, and it was more of a bestial, aggressive, uh, sort of sound that had a much worse fidelity. It sounded like they were going for something a little more atmospheric. It turned out it was just actually a demo, and the performances on this thing are very strong. The fidelity of the recording is actually very strong and stylized towards, so yeah, classic Swedish black metal, but also modern sounds. And I don't know that there's anything else to say about this record because there's a lot to it. I'm a couple days out on finishing the review for it, so thinking about it is what I remember most is sort of the lead melodies that carry through a lot of the better songs, a lot of the thrash and speed metal influenced pieces, hence the like mention of Niflheim and that kind of thing. But you don't get the usual uh, black metal record out of this thing, and some of that comes down to the production values, but a lot of it comes down to the uh, real refinement of the main guitarist vocalist's songwriting and his uh, ability to play quite well and express himself in that way. That's just good black metal in general. But I feel like they waited until they were tested and they were ready to put out a black metal album. And that's kind of the big thing with me is there's a lot of bands that are not ready for their recording. They're just putting it out to participate. And in this case, the band was ready to go with a very good album inside them, and they just kind of pulled it out here. And I think a lot of people will overlook it because it's just later in the year. But for me, this was yeah, a good like 3 weeks of listening that I really enjoyed, and I think most people could get at least that much out of it. So check it out if that sounds like your thing at all. And there's a lot more to read of actual details in the written review.